Good morning, everybody. I am Bear with BearIndependent.com, and today we're going to be discussing. Whoa, cut. All right, start over again. Coffee, finger up. Good morning, everybody. I am Bear with BearIndependent.com, and today we are going to be discussing how to develop a bug out plan. Nailed it. Okay. How to develop a bug out plan. Step one, set your coffee down. Step two, get out your prepper notebooks and your pens so you can start making notes. If you're new to this series, this is episode umpteenish of umpteen so far. There's a lot already in this playlist, so you can go back and watch through the entire prepper classroom playlist where we break down what are otherwise difficult to grasp concepts into itty-bitty bite-sized pieces so that we can develop actionable intel and be able to actually do things to meet the anxiety of preparedness with action so that we can get better and go on about our day. So everybody knows you need a bug out plan, man. Well, actually, not everybody knows that. Most people know you need a bug out bag, man. And they have the order entirely wrong. Most people develop a bug out bag first. And while you should have a bug out bag, the bug out bag is like a small part of the system. And so you need a bug out plan. Now, the bug out plan is going to be based upon the mission. What is the mission? And most people are like, to survive the apocalypse, man. Okay, we need a little bit more specificity than that. How? Right? Who is surviving the apocalypse, man, with you? Grandma, your 4 nieces and nephews, your 12 dogs, your 86 cats, like, who? Okay? Because if we're bugging out, who is bugging out? Is it just your immediate nuclear family? Is it Uncle Bob and Aunt Sandy are coming with you? We need to know these things. They matter, and we'll see why here in a minute. But the mission, what's the mission? To survive. How? How are we going to survive? Well, I guess we're going to have to leave where we are and go to some place that's less threatening. Okay, that's a good start. Who's going with you when you do that? When are you doing it? See, you need your bug out indicators, which we've talked about in a previous episode. What are your bug out indicators? When is it time to go? When we see 3 of these 5 things happening in our neighborhood, in our region, in our state, maybe it's time to go. Okay, so you need your bug out indicators. So when are you leaving? How? How are you leaving? I'm just going to get in my car and drive. Okay, that's a pretty good answer. And frankly, probably the best answer for the vast majority of the reasons that you would have to bug out. And a lot of people are like, well, it's because of the zombie apocalypse, man. Well, it could be a forest fire. It could be a hurricane or tornado, an earthquake. It could be a winter snowstorm that's coming and there's no more eggs, milk, and bread, so you can't make your favorite snowstorm meal of French toast, which is, why does everybody buy eggs, milk, and bread? And so you're like, you know what? They got French toast in the next state over. We're going to bug out over there and go eat some French toast, which would be your why, because we love French toast, but there's a nor'easter coming. So how are you going to do it? Most of the time, that can be your vehicle. And we will get to man-portable systems in a minute. But remember, everything degrades into a man-portable system. But the how matters. And not just okay, we're going to take a car. Which car? How much fuel is in it? What is the range of said vehicle? How many people can you carry? Because the how can be affected by the who. Right? If there's 12 people bugging out, one car ain't going to do it. Okay? And then, okay, so we got 3 cars with 4 people each in it. Cool. How are we going to communicate? You get your commo plan squared away? See why these things matter? So all this comes back to the mission. So you have to clearly define this. Why? Again, bug out indicators. Forest fire 3 miles from here. We're going. I'm out. I'm not staying here. Or Panamanian paratroopers landed the next town over. Okay. I'd love to, go Wolverines and all that stuff, but maybe it's time to go because we have toddlers, and while they're awesome at a lot of things, pressing triggers while we break contact is not one of the things that these toddlers are good at, so maybe it's time to go, okay? What? What's going with us? What's going with us? Most people's answer is everything. Everything. I got my wall tent, my camp stove, my 46 gallons of water that's put up in these portable bug out tote things, and I've got a 12-volt pressure pump, and I've got all these things, and they're gonna go with me, and we've got there's an 18-foot trailer that's packed to the gills full of stuff, and okay, cool. Is that stuff on the trailer right now, or is it gonna take you 6.5 hours to put it all on the trailer so you can go? See, these things matter. A great tactic here is to have your bug out kit, your bug out load, in things like big duffel bags or totes, preloaded in your garage, ready to go, just sitting on the floor, ready to go. If the balloon goes up, your bug out indicators start hitting, you're like, man, it is time to go. Back the car into the garage, pick up your totes, throw them in there, grab all your kids, stuff them in the car, grab your wife, throw her in the car, or your husband, throw him in the car, grab your bug out bags. It's go time. And see, so the what matters. You should have a list of this already. This stuff should already be set aside so that it's ready to go, so that you're removing the thinking from it. Well, maybe we should take this. Shut up, honey, it's time to go. The world's ending. But don't you think we should? Come on, let's go. Right? And just grab the stuff, put it in the car. It's time to go. Okay? So you need to define all of this first. You need to define all of this first so that you can develop a bug out plan. Because this is how to develop a bug out plan. Okay. Next thing to understand, the bug out plan, BOP, is not our primary concern initially during the planning phase. The bug out location is. Because if we don't know where we're going, we certainly can't plan to get there. Ergo, we have an issue here, right? If we put this equation into Microsoft Excel, we would get an error. If we have this, but we don't have this, we don't actually have this. So the first thing is, what is your bug out location? Where are you going? Where's are you going? Plural. What are your spider points and waypoints, which we've already covered in other videos, so you can go back, look for that. Where are you going? Once you know where you are going, you can implement a plan, a bug out plan to get there. That bug out plan informs your bug out vehicle, okay? And which really, if I was to do this appropriately, this would be BOK, and then BOB. Now I know all the acronyms, it's tremendous. By the way, praise Yah and pass the ammo. That t-shirt's down below. There's a little bar right underneath this video. Praise Yah and pass the ammo. It's a great t-shirt. Okay. Bug out location informs the bug out plan. Now that we know where we're going, we know what type of vehicle we need to take. Maybe it's a Chinook helicopter, maybe it's a Hind, maybe we've captured a Russian Hind somehow in this fantasy world that we live in, and one of our people just happens to know how to pilot it, and we're gonna put the 46 people in our neighborhood in it, and then we're gonna load on our bug out kits, which include our bug out vehicles, or bug out bags, whatever. Your bug out vehicle has your bug out kit in it, which could be your totes, your whatever, all the stuff that needs to go with you. And then as part of that bug out kit is your bug out bag. This is what goes on your shoulders that you can walk around with, okay? Because all systems ultimately devolve into a man-portable system, meaning you must be able to walk around with your bare necessities on your back. So while it's nice to have a bug out vehicle loaded with all the things, if this vehicle gets a flat tire or gets the radiator punctured or runs out of oil or fuel or whatever, you can't carry the entirety of your bug out kit, so you have your bug out bag with you ready to go, okay? So all of this matters based upon this. The next thing is to understand the area that you are operating in. So you need to do an area study, and you need to have gathered intel already. Right now, you need to have your area study done. We've talked about this. We've did an entire video on area study. Not just for where you are now, but where you are going to and the areas you are traversing. You need to actually understand the environment that you are operating in. The reason for that is because right now you have the luxury of time. It may not feel like it, but you have the luxury of time to make informed decisions and do research now that will save you heartache, struggle, and strife on the back end. That you're not being forced to make decisions in real time under pressure without having an actual picture of what's going on the ground, without understanding the environment that you're in. So you need to do your area study, gather that intel, quantify that intel into something that actually makes sense. And we're going to go over some of the resources that I use here in a minute to do that. Okay? And then your spider points and your waypoints. Where are you going? Again, this gets back to bug out location. Where are you actually going? If you do not understand where you're bugging out to, and more than the woods, what are you going to do when you get there? You're going to build bushcraft Shangri-La and start a hippie commune in the middle of the woods in February? Good luck. Or August? Good luck. So where are you going? Okay? Clearly define that. That matters, because we're going to see here in a minute, you need to develop routes and map them. If you don't know where you are going, you cannot develop routes and map them. That is impossible. So you need to have an understanding of where you are going. Now, once you have all this information put together, codified into one area, whether this is a Word document or a PDF or a handwritten journal binder type thing. I mean, even something like this can be a good resource just to have your notes in. So you need to develop your routes and map them. Now, I am a fan of digital as well as hard copies for this information, this document that we're developing, because all of this is a document. We're putting all this together, quantifying all this information. I like having a PDF copy of this on my phone. Now, a lot of people are like, yeah, Bear, but what happens when we get another Carrington event with a CME, coronal mass ejection, followed by an EMP, well, a dirty bomb that was set off by the Saudis and the blah, 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 and our phones don't work? Yeah, but what if they do? Like, listen, ham radios are cool, but they're not my first line of defense for telling my wife we need to get more milk. Okay? So, what if they do work? I've got my bug out plane in my hand. It's right here. Oh, let me zoom in on that. And great. If it doesn't work, we have backups to our backups to our backups. But if it does work, it's on my freaking phone. Awesome. All right. So a PDF on your phone, your tablet, your iPad, pick your device, whatever. And then on a thumb drive. At Prosperity, our consultancy, we provide, when we do a workup like this for somebody, we provide bound hard copies in addition to thumb drives. And the idea with the thumb drives is A, you have redundancy, B, you can share it with people on your team. So here's one for you, Bob. Here's one for you, Sally. We'll go with Sally. It's a nice name. She's from the Middle East. Here's one for you, Sally. Here's one for you, Tim, Joe, Susie, Janet, whatever, okay? So you can pass them out to your people without having the trouble of printing off all of these hard copies. They can then print that off for them if needed. And then also, again, as redundancy, you can get these little thumb drives that hang on your keychain. You've got your bug out plan with you wherever you go. Now, I would prefer if you had it in hard copy, ready to go, in a binder and in your bug out bag. So the binder would be the kind of thing that you'd put in your BOK. And then having a physical hard copy of your maps and your plans and your routes and your commo and all of that in your bug out bag, highly recommended, preferably in a dry sack or fully laminated, okay? So you want to develop these routes and map them, and then you're going to this document You need both digital and hard copies of this document so that you have access to it at all times. And you should definitely take the time now to familiarize yourself with it now, so that you're not trying to understand and decode all of this information on the worst day of your life. That's what prepping is, man. We're putting in the effort now so it's not so bad when the balloon goes up. Okay, so you should mentally prep for this exercise of bugging out by reviewing all of the information that you're developing when you do your area study, when you develop your spider points, your waypoints. And there should be people on the other end here. I don't know if I've made that point before or made it enough, but there should be people at your spider points and your waypoints to receive you, to help you. You know, okay, maybe you get a bad laceration and you're dealing with it, man, but what I really need is 3 days of R&R and to keep this thing covered up and maybe a little bit of debridement. And I just don't know. And I don't have any antibiotics on me, but I know that Todd at the farm, which is one of our spider points, does, or whatever, okay? So quantify all of this into a document, digital copies, hard copies. Now, where do we get this intel from? Where do we get this information from? Let's come over to this whiteboard. Don't tread on me, by the way, FYI. So one of the things that I'm a big fan of is not moving through contested territory. A good way to know whether or not area is contested is by doing your area study. And The Real Streets, that's a Z, therealstreets.com, there, move that in, is one of the resources that I use that maps gang territories in a lot of areas of the United States. Why is that important? Well, I don't want to be rolling through a gang territory when things are bad. I don't want to go there on a good day. I definitely don't want to go there on a bad day. So just that little bit of homework will help. Google Maps for aerial studies, to actually be able to look down on top of your operating environment and map routes out. That helps quite a bit, and we do screen captures of those routes, and we use those screen captures to compile our document that if we're going to navigate from East Overshoe, Indiana to Panama City, Florida, how are we going to get from one to the other? Although I'd probably go the opposite direction from Panama City, Florida to East Overshoe, Indiana, being perfectly honest. But how are we going to get there? Map it out. Literally map it out on Google Maps. Screenshot each leg of the journey. Take that screenshot and paste it into your document so that you have this jump from Panama City up to wherever. Altoona. I don't know where Altoona is, but we're going to go to Altoona, and this leg is 110 miles. Cool. Okay, what does that actually look like? Well, we're going to take Highway 49 for 15 miles, and good. Map all that out, screenshot it, put it into this document. Okay, so Google Maps is great for that. Melissa data. It used to be you could get Melissa data free in perpetuity. Now I think they give you 5 free searches and then you have to pay after that. So use that wisely. But Melissa data coupled with Wikipedia can allow you to get an idea of the human environment in an area. What are the political trends in this area? What are the socioeconomic trends in this area? What is the major industry? What is the key infrastructure that could be disrupted by disruptive threats? And then those disruptive threats could create conventional and unconventional threats, second, third order effects, so forth and so on, which we talked about in our area study video and threat assessment. So you can get a lot of that data just by Googling Melissa data or looking on Wikipedia. And yes, I'm aware that Google is evil, and I'm aware that Wikipedia is evil. I get it, but let's make use of the resources that we have available to us. OnX, ONX, is a hunting application that a good buddy of mine turned me on to. I like it because I have 3 states worth of maps on my phone offline. Fully downloaded to my phone, I can navigate all of Texas, all of Arkansas, and all of Oklahoma, which I live in Arkla, Texahoma, so it makes sense. Offline, completely offline. I don't need a cell connection. I don't need a Wi-Fi connection. I pay $15 a month for that, but it's worth it to me to have all 3 of those states offline, that I can hold it in my hand and see it if I need it. It also, the whole reason OnX exists is it shows you property lines that if you wanted to contact a landowner to hunt on their property, you can see who owns that property. That's a very interesting and useful resource to have, especially as you're developing your area study. Okay, so I like OnX for that. And then HuntStand has a similar application to this, but where HuntStand really shines is in the maps that they produce. I've talked to you guys about HuntStand before. I'm going to keep talking to you about HuntStand because they're a bunch of good people that make a really good product. Their canvas maps, 3-foot by 4-foot canvas maps, are freaking awesome. And I have several of them. And to be able to take that map that you have developed that completely pertains to your bug out plan and fold that canvas map up, all-weather map up, and stick it in your bug out kit or your bug out bag and have it on your person with you is invaluable to me. It is the best option for a map that I've found for bugging out thus far, and they're completely customizable. That's what I like about it. So these are some of the resources that I use when I'm putting together a bug out plan for a client. But it's really deeply rooted in understanding what the mission is and what is the area that we're operating in. Knowing those two things, I can come up with a creative solution to get us from point A to point B while limiting our exposure to badness as much as possible, okay? So, in the binder, in this document that you're creating, you should have your list of bug out indicators. Because remember, you're going to distribute this to your people. So, Jamie, 3 towns over, might not know that whatever. If the local plant shuts down, that's one of our bug out indicators. Well, here it is, right at the beginning of this document. These are our bug out indicators. And you should have a protocol to assemble the tribe, assemble the team, if then. If these 3 things happen, then we go here and do this, like that. Hey man, spin it up. You should have brevity codes, you should have codes, period. Hey man, if I text you the owl is on the woodshed, you know what I'm talking about. It's time to go, okay? So your bug out indicators, your COMO protocols. This is our PACE, our primary alternate contingency emergency. These are the freaks that we use. Yada, 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 yada. We have these COMO windows during the day, during the night. We roll over frequencies based on this offset with yada, 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 and that is a different video for a different time. You can do lots of research on that, but that should be in your binder. Maps of your waypoints, and waypoints and spider points are different. We've covered this in previous videos. But the idea here, again, is these maps that we're developing using all of this data to get from A to B to C to D to E, and we really want to be at E. Each leg of that journey, those are your waypoints, and you should have maps of that. Maps of your routes, meaning your spider points. If you have 4 different places you can go, each one of those routes is different. So we want maps to go from here to here, to go from here to here, to go from here to here, to go from here to here. And we want to map each one of those individual routes with all of their waypoints. You should have a loadout checklist. Why is this important? Again, you're handing out this information to other people on your team, and while it might make sense to you that we got to grab all these things, it might not make sense to them. And maybe you are depending heavily on Todd grabbing that 1 bin in his garage, but Todd is in a hurry and he doesn't have his bug out kit squared away, so he doesn't load it into his bug out vehicle. So when he leaves in a hurry, that tote that you're highly dependent on never shows up. Now, in the back of this book, Survivalist Family, Prepared Americans for a Strong America by Joe Fox, my friend, my pastor, and my business partner. There's a whole bunch of lists back here of things that should be in your bug out bag, in your bug out kit. As far as developing, there's a whole appendix here of developing your loadout and the things that you should have with you when you go. You could buy that book, copy out the back of it, and use that to develop your loadout checklist that you're going to distribute to your people, that when the balloon goes up, here's what you need to bring with you, okay? In this binder, have your pertinent information My name is Bob Smith. My social security is 123456789. And obviously use discretion here, but your pertinent information, any documents that, and I see this all the time with natural disaster, where your house gets flooded. Cool, what was in your house? Your identification, social security card, the deed to your house, all your insurance paperwork. You got nothing. You have nothing. It has taken people a year just to be able to get an ID because the Social Security Department won't give you a new Social Security card without a photo ID, and you can't get a photo ID without a Social Security card. So your own personal SHTF that you're bugging out from could be a natural disaster, and if that's the case, having copies or the originals of your most important documents with you is a very good idea, having that bound in this binder that goes with you in your bug out kit. Okay, and obviously there's a lot of OPSEC bro here, and OPSEC for the uninitiated is operational security. There's information, my personal information, I don't want to give out to other people in my team, but it should be someplace for you, and in this binder is a good place for it. In addition to that, people who have medical issues, known medical issues, a one-sheeter in that binder that Sally is allergic to bee stings, and Bob has hypertension and takes losartan potassium to deal with it, and blah, 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 blah. A one-sheeter of that in your binder, known medical issues, so that if something happens, we have that information at our hands. And you can go deeper with medical records if you feel so convicted to do so. By the way, awesome drawings from the toddler. Can you see this? She's killing it. And this is the best sticker ever. Stickers go to my $3 and up patrons. I love that. Unicorn pooping rainbows. Then your contacts, their position, and info to get a hold of them should be in this binder. And these contacts being those at your spider points. Okay? Who is at your spider points? If we make it to Tallahassee, who's there? How do we get a hold of them? What's their address? What's their name? Their name's Bill. What's the call sign? What's the code word for Bill when we see Bill? Okay, so their contacts, their position, and any relative info to that. And a good resource for this, conceptually, is Locker 9 by Franklin Horton. Now, I mentioned Angry American in a previous video, and a whole bunch of y'all were like, you call yourself a prepper? You don't even know that Franklin Horton wrote Locker 9. Okay, number one, yeah, I do kind of call myself a prepper, but I don't love that term. Number two, just a little busy with life and all these things that we do. And number three, Franklin Horton is awesome and reached out to me and sent me a copy of Locker 9, which I read, and it's a good book, a very good book, and you should read it too, because conceptually, this idea of spider points is what saves this girl's bacon over and over and over and over. And so I'm not saying, and I have said before, don't do this. Don't read prepper fiction as if it's a how-to guide. However, there are some useful takeaways in a lot of these books. So in Locker 9, he makes a really good argument for and outlines the details of these spider points with their contacts, their positions on the map, and the relative info there. So check that out. Lastly, because we're going long, feature-length video, pointers. We got a glare over there. We got a glare there too. Whatever. Green marker for the win. Pointers. Leave early. Bug out indicators. Run your bug out indicators. When a critical mass of bug out indicators hits 3 out of 5, run your bug out indicators. It's time to go leave early. Parallel major highways. As you're doing your Google Maps workup, a lot of that's going to be on major highways, but there are secondary roads that run parallel to or adjacent to major highways. By and large, if you can, stay on surface roads. If the highway's running, great, but the moment the highway stops running, get off, run surface roads. And so when you are developing your snapshots, your screen grabs for your binder, you want to be zoomed out far enough that you're giving a good overall picture of the route so that you're seeing adjacent roads to the highway, not just the highway itself. So parallel major highways. Avoid large cities. Grab and move your route on the loop around DC. Don't go through DC. And you're not going to DC anyway. If you're stuck on 495, forget it. But my point is, maybe you're going to Paris, Texas. Don't drive through Paris, Texas. Hit the loop around Paris, Texas. And if you can, take surface roads around the loop around Paris, Texas. So, see what I mean here? Avoid the large cities. Navigate around them. Man-portable systems. All systems ultimately degrade into man-portable systems. You must be able to carry the bare necessities on your back. The 12 C's of survival we've talked about in previous videos, that has to be able to go with you everywhere. All your need to haves live on your person. Your nice to haves are in your bug out kit. Your need to haves are in your bug out bag. Copy? If this vehicle goes up in flames and I grab my bug out bag and I run, I've got everything I need to have to not be a casualty, to not become a statistic. Not necessarily everything I'd like to have or want to have, but everything I need to have. And that has to be a man-portable system because you and your 2 feet are the lowest common denominator for mobility within your group, okay? You must practice the routes. This seems pretty obvious, but if it's 3 a.m. and pouring rain, can you navigate without technology? That's the other thing. Can you navigate without technology? Can you do it in the dark, on short sleep or no sleep, in the pouring rain? Practice the routes so that you can, so that it becomes muscle memory, second nature. You don't have to think about it nearly as much because, again, the whole point of this preparedness thing now is to do the work up front so it's not so bad on the back end. So do the work up front and practice these routes. Learn how to navigate it without technology. And that can be as simple as having just a map compass and a map. You got your hunt stand map and your Silva compass. Cool. Basic land nav. What direction are we pointed? Compare that against, the maps that you have in your binder and you go, yeah, we're supposed to be pointed north on Highway 52. Yeah, we're pointed north. Cool. Roll with it. All right. So the ability to navigate without technology on routes that you've already practiced is key. So, how to develop a bug out plan. Boom. I really do hope that this helps. The entire point of me doing this is to try and give y'all as much value as possible out of this old dome of mine, and for it to be a blessing for you so that you can be better prepared and share these with people who need to see this so that it becomes accessible, so that you can break down this ethereal concept of a bug out plan into something that actually makes sense, that you can actually act upon. So, major thanks to our patrons. We could not and would not do it without your support. I'm deeply thankful for you. Literally, I would not do this if it was not for you patrons, so thank you very much. If you would like to support the show to perpetuate this train wreck that we call the Prepper Classroom, by all means click the baby bear. I think he's here. He might be here. He's here. You can click the baby bear. There's 24 exclusive pieces of content per month on Patreon, in addition to all the free content that's provided on YouTube. The best words, they're tremendous, believe me. Those of y'all that are looking for people, the forums at bearindependent.com, yeah, that's right, the forums were designed explicitly so that y'all could crosstalk and find people in your area so that you have a who for your mission plan. So check that out. And yeah, that's what I got. Please do the like, subscribe, share, comment, thumbs up thing. That helps me quite a bit in the algorithm. And as we know, the algorithm doesn't love gun-toting, Bible-thumping, patriotic Americans. So don't tread on me, bro. Shalom, y'all.